so many new faces. You know, we have a new face joining us today. So Matt, I'll start with you. First game out in CQ Stadium. A lot of new pieces. You're melding in with everyone else. What was your day like?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely nerve-wracking at first, you know, playing in the stadium like that. But, you know, these guys have been great, welcoming me in as family. And I think just the whole week preparing, you know, we were ready to go out there. And obviously you have those first game jitters, but, you know, once the whistle blows, you're just playing lacrosse.
I'll kind of ask the inverse of that to you. What have you seen from him, and what has he brought to the
Yeah.
club?
Well, we're very thankful that these guys are here, for sure. They've been awesome. They come to work every day. They've been great teammates, first of all, and they've been a joy to share the field with so far. And all of them, they've all been awesome. Matt obviously had a great day today, so did Bryce. But we're excited for what's to come, and these guys have been great to be a part of this thing with us. So we're very, very fortunate.
Daniel, I asked you to talk for the defense since they're not here.
Yeah.
Defense was pretty much pitching a shutout. I think it got to 7-0. It was 8-1. What do you guys make? Because you get to watch the defense down there and attack. What do you make of your defense today?
Well, it's fun to watch when they play like that. But they're a very cohesive group. Logan, obviously leading them down there in the net. But they work very hard. We see it every day in practice. We go against them every day in practice. So we know how talented they are, but they play together as a group. And when they're doing that, it's very fun to watch. It's very fun to be on the offensive end and knowing that they're playing that well. So they've been great.
I'll direct the same question to Matt. What's it like playing against these guys in practice? I assume that practice is a pretty hard game.
Yeah, I mean, Coach has said it before the game today. You know, we play against one of the best defenses in the country every week. So, you know, it's definitely tough every day, but, you know, we push each other and it gets us ready for games like today.
So, Sean Crater obviously had some extended time on the field today, and then he was able to, I guess, cap a good performance with a goal. What was the reaction from you guys, the players, being on the field, being on the sideline when he scored?
Yeah, it was awesome. Sean's a great guy. He works very hard. He's been a great teammate. Obviously, him and Shay kind of backing up Luke for a couple years. They learned a lot from him, going against him every day. But when he put that one in the net, I was thrilled. I was jumping up and down for him because, you know, he's been waiting some time to get his opportunity, and I think he did a great job today.
In the first period, you guys got outshot, but the rest of the way, second and third, you guys kind of took control. What do you think was the difference kind of helping you dictate the possessions more after that first quarter?
You can go.
Yeah, I think, you know, first game, and you don't really know what to expect from the other team, obviously, with it being the first game. So, you know, this first couple possessions, you're feeling it out, and then, you know, our coaches do a great job of adjusting, and, you know, we figure out what's working against them, and then that's when you see the success later on in the game.
Any more for the players?
One more. This being your first press conference here, how long does it take? How many of these guys did you know before you got here? Why did you pick Maryland? And then how long did it take for you to feel like you're part of this crew?
I don't think I knew any of them personally before I committed to Maryland, but it's been unbelievable. As soon as I stepped on campus, you know, these guys welcomed me in. There was no, you know, me feeling like an outsider. They, you know, they brought me in as one of their own. Why did I choose Maryland? You know, you get to play for an amazing coaching staff. You get to play for the whole state of Maryland, and the culture here is just unbelievable. And you know, I want to win a national championship, and I think we could do that here.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you. Good job.
Thank you.
Coach, one of the big question marks coming in was a face-off. You guys go 13 for 21 against a really good face-off guy at Richmond. What do you think? What do you think the performance of the guys means moving forward, or is it just one game?
I think it's one game. You know, they had a guy out. They were down to two guys. Just watching them warm up, they only had two guys that were warming up. So might have caught a little bit of a break there, but again, we're all dealing with some injuries here and there. But I thought we have a lot of faith in those guys. I don't think it'd be fair for any of us to expect somebody to foul Luke and be Luke. You know, but both those guys did a good job. I thought Jonah, he went 2 for 2 going in. He's another guy that's had a good preseason. So, those two guys, and then, add Mitch in there. He's a really good athlete. We have a good stable, and those guys push each other really well. And I think Obransky, Coach Obransky does a really good job with them. So they have good chemistry. It will probably be, and I think with the new rules now, you're going to need 2 guys, because if you violate, you got to go to your next guy. So you can't put that guy out there. And each one is a little bit different. You could see in the first face-off, Shea was a little nervous. But he's incredibly hard worker. And last year against Brown, when Luke couldn't play, I thought Shea was really good. Sean didn't have the day last year against Brown he would have liked to have, but he got like about 10 face-offs and had experience. And he scored 50 goals, I think, his senior year. So he was on extra man. So he's a guy that has good ball skills. He can handle the ball, handle pressure, and that was one of the things that really attracted us to him. I think it was the midfielder of the year in New Jersey his senior year. So good ball skills, all unique. I mean, even Jonah was the Section 5 Offensive Player of the Year as a face-off guy. So those guys are only going to get better. And some good moments in a lot of different ways for those guys. Still a lot to learn, but I think for today, just kind of getting that experience is only going to help down the road.
John, with obviously it's February 1st and teams' identities changed throughout the course of the year. How productive did you feel today was in terms of just figuring out who you are?
Yeah, that's been our biggest challenge. We have such a good group, and Keegs was right. Those guys have fit in so well. Part of it is just finding kids when they're in high school or they're in the portal. Like, who are our types of guys? And we don't sugarcoat it. We tell them how hard we challenge the kids, and a lot of it, pretty much the most of it is for their benefit, right? Whether it's you got to go to class, you got to do the right things. We're going to do community service. You're a celebrity here. Like, you have to be a good guy, and all of it is for their development in life. But we're not a big lax pro place, so they need to know, we're going to hold you accountable. So we kind of vet the guys to make sure they know what they're getting into. And also just the selflessness of the groups we've had. And I think the right kid gets attracted to that. The wrong guy is like, well, I want it to be about me and I want to score all the goals. And if that's the case, it's probably not a great fit. But I do think we've been super careful about who we've brought in. So there's a very positive aspect of kids coming in here because they've been great guys, and we haven't had any bad apples per se. But it's been challenging to figure out what do they do best together, who should be playing with each other, and how do we set them up for success. And I thought, obviously, the preseason was super helpful. Playing Duke and Georgetown helped. Playing Cornell in the fall helped. I thought Fipsy did a great job today of just kind of making some adjustments. We just didn't know a lot about Richmond except for what they did last year. We had no intel about them in scrimmages. No one said anything, or no write-ups. There was nothing. So we had to kind of look at last year and say, what have they done historically? So pour through film, and then, okay, they lost a really good senior class. But they lost, one of them is playing with Jesse, for the Outlaws. One's playing at Duke, and one was an All-American. So those are 3 big losses on offense. But we heard they scored 30-plus goals in 2 scrimmages. So we're like, okay, they are doing something right. And Dan's a great coach. We were like, we need to be buttoned up. We need to be smart. We got to be on point. And went through a lot of different things they could run. And then defensively, again, they do a great job there as well, so we knew they'd be buttoned up. Veteran goalie. They brought in a really good player from Mount St. Mary's, so they kind of have a good nucleus. I think they had 5 kids on the preseason all conference team, so we knew it'd be a battle. 4 times we played them, 3-1 goal games, so it was like, okay, what do we do best? Who should be playing with who? It's been a lot of competition. Everybody keeps telling us what we don't have, and we keep focusing on what we do have. And I think this group will only get better as they play together and get more comfortable with each other, and it'll help us as well. But I thought the special teams were huge today, whether it was face-offs, Logan in the goal, extra man, ground balls. And if you look, we had 7 turnovers through 3 quarters. last year, through 3 quarters, if you did your homework, we're probably double digits in most games. The last quarter, a lot of new parts in there, so I kind of didn't look at that. We had 7 there, but a little different story, you know. So playing clean, playing smart, not beating ourselves, playing unselfishly. That's early season lacrosse, so just being fundamentally solid. And then trying to kind of figure out, all right, you know, here's where we are, now there's film, what do we continue to do, because people will start preparing for us, what can we anticipate, what adjustments do we need to make. But I think it's kind of nice because there's really no guy like, oh, if you take him out of the game, like, you know, it's going to change a lot. I do think we have some really good players, but it's the parts working together, you know. And so when you have a group like that, that's kind of how they are off the field. Man, like that sense of team and the chemistry, like there's a lot you can do with that.
Yeah. I might have to credit Tony with this phrase, but echoes of a few years ago when you brought in a veteran team, added some veteran transfers, and all of a sudden you had something really special. As you look down the score sheet, Keegan has 3, Kelly has 3, but then Bryce Ford's a new name. He has 2. Jack Dowd has 2 assists. Are there echoes of what you've done before when you build a championship team on top?
You know, we did lose a lot of pieces. So, you know, you look at the guys that went out the door, there were some significant losses. So I think if you find the right guys, you can buffer those. You don't have to be so young so fast. But we've had some guys waiting in the wings, and I think those guys did a good job too. You know, I thought Jack Schultz did a good job. You know, Elijah Stobaugh, like, you know, those are some names. Thomas Gravino today. You know, Pete Lake. There were some young bucks out there. What we didn't have to do is throw like 8 of them out there at once or 4 of them out there at once. And in 2014, when Rambo, you know, that freshman class, it was the Final Four, and we had 4 freshmen on offense at one point. And it was like, oh my God, you know. So you get old fast. So you'd like to avoid that. And they're great. Those guys were great players, but you'd like to have some experience, especially early season. But I'm happy for the guys because, you know, we scrimmaged Duke a few weeks ago. It did not go well. We did not play well. So we had to kind of look at ourselves and make some changes and kind of make sure that we improved. But that's the beauty of playing on a tough schedule. And then we were better last week, and I think we were better today. So all we can ask the guys is keep learning, staying focused. I'm proud of them because we spent a lot of time this week with the clearing stuff. You know, they have shown in the past a lot of different riding, you know, 10-man, not 10-man, and we spent a lot of time, and they came right out in it, and I thought our guys handled it pretty well because we saw probably 2-3 looks, and the guys failed 1 clear, you know, and might have failed another one here and there technically, but the guys kind of tried to execute what we were doing, and it wasn't a disaster. In early season, that can be the case.
It was just 1, according to the score sheet.
Yeah, so again, now we have tape on it. The guys have been there, and even like we use some guys like Elliot Dubit was like in the clearing, and that was something he had never done before. You know, he's playing extra man now, so that's something he hadn't done a lot of in the year past. So it's nice seeing some of the other guys step up. Just a total selfless group. I told them to enjoy it tonight, and you know, we got to get ready for a team. Last time we went to Loyola, it did not go very well. They took it to us pretty good. So enjoy it for a couple days. Tell your parents you love them and thank them for coming, and you know, get back to work on Monday, and you know, just week 2.
2 more, no one in the league.
Well, Coach, it was an excellent second quarter for your team. You guys scored 5 goals. You held Richmond without a shot for over 10 minutes. But what did you like most from not necessarily that second, but that opening half for your team?
Well, I thought the guys had a good, you know, we weren't sure. We thought we'd see Creo, and we thought we'd see O'Neill. We didn't know who the third guy would be. And then we didn't know who would be playing with who. After the 3 big offensive losses, they had basically it seemed like 9 through 12 back. So they had a lot of other parts. So we kind of just said, all right, if they go with the guys that played after that, let's have a pull priority. Let's run some of the sets they've utilized. Luckily with scrimmage, you see a lot of different looks, so that helps too. But I thought the guys understood personnel. Jesse does a great job with the defense. And when we broke down quietly, I mean, Lokes, I think he had 14 saves, but it was kind of like steady, you know, like he didn't have 10 and a quarter. It was 3, 3, 5, and then 3 again. So quietly, when we needed a save, he made it. And then some of the clearing stuff, he bailed us out a couple times. So I think just systematically, the guys kind of knowing, all right, this is my job, this is what we're trying to do, covering up for each other. I thought we slid and recovered pretty well. And then the guys got off the field when they needed to. You know, we got Pete a lot of work today, which will be great. We'll get Jack McDonald back at some point. So again, Pete getting a lot of valuable time. And Zach Gorno and Garino Thomas did a good job. So first extent for them. So now they're getting action, which is great. So now that's money in the bank. Jordy Holmes doing a little bit of everything at a shorty and a long. So again, maybe not our most, you know, well-known team, but maybe a little deeper team. In a lot of ways, that can be more fun.
Coach, what impressed you specifically about Logan today? Just very impressive performance from him. Was
Just-
there anything that stood out?
Yeah, just, you know, doing like what he's been doing really for the 100 years he's been here. We give him a lot of grief with that, but he's so poised, you know, like never gets frazzled. You know, he'll come out of the goal and get a ground ball and steal us a possession. He knows what he's doing in the clearing game. You know, he made a couple huge saves for us, which is awesome. But just leading the guys, I think that's one of the things we've asked him to do more this year is, you know, create a little more energy, but also be a little stronger communicator, just because we do have some younger guys. But he got us set up in the clear. We had to make some adjustments, and he makes them really fast. So, you know, I'm happy for him that he got the number one. And as I said last week, we didn't know he was going to start until probably, you know, last week. Brian Ruppel has been great. And Brian Ruppel was really good in the fall. It was a hard decision. Brian made this really challenging, and we had to kind of let it play out, in fairness to Brian, because he had been so good in the fall scrimmages. Like, he's got a super bright future.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.